Alex, you're back at the Fly this year as the head coach of the Forge women's team. How does that feel?
It feels great. I had such a great time at the Fly last year, and an amazing time coaching men for the first time. I'm really excited to try and transfer some of that knowledge back over to a women's team and hopefully take the Forge defending champions, which is a bit of pressure, but hopefully take them back for a win again.
And you mentioned you coached the Hustle men last year, and you finished second at the Fly last year. What was that experience like?
Yeah, we got so close to winning, so a little bit heartbreaking at the end. But it was amazing to work with a group of players who were so enthusiastic about learning a new kind of the game. It was my first experience coaching sixes, so that was fantastic to be part of such a kind of forward-thinking and fast-moving part of the game. So really great fun and no hesitation in saying, yeah, I definitely want to be back again for year two.
So you've obviously got a lot of experience coaching women's teams, sort of in the field game, but you took on the Hustle men's team last year. What do you think it'll be like for you transitioning to the women's game in the sixes format, seeing as you've got the experience in the men's game in the sixes format?
Yeah, hopefully it's going to give our team a bit of an edge. I think there was quite a lot to be learned, especially from working with an amazing assistant coach last year in Andy Downing. So it's great to see him over on the Forge side again. Transferring even though he's staying with the men, learned so much from him on box lacrosse, which is something that I definitely didn't know very much about, but is so transferable, like to sixes. And really, the rules are so similar between the men's and the women's. It's just a little bit different on contact. So I think everything I learned last year is really applicable. And I'll just have the benefit this year of knowing the players a bit better. I was very blind on who I was coaching last year, as this year it'll be players who I've coached a lot and seen a lot over the years. So I'm excited about that combination. It should be really good.
And are there any specific learnings that you'll be taking from the experience of last year's competition and that might be able to help you in this year's event?
Yeah, I don't want to give away too many trade secrets, but I've definitely got a couple of tactics that I picked up that I'll be looking to bring over. But also how to bring a team together really quickly without that much practice. We created a really great atmosphere last year, and that's my kind of number one objective going into the start of the Fly this year is how to bring this group that was successful last year, with be a couple of new players in it. So how do we bring that together really, really tight and playing for each other really early on in the tournament? I think that'll be the key to good success in the tournament.
You'll also be joined by Amy Ratapana, who's your assistant coach for the event this year. What's it going to be like teaming up with her? Have you worked with her before?
No, this will be our first outing together, which is great. I'm really excited to work with such an up and coming, like new and young coach. I'm hoping she'll be very challenging for me. Really get stuck in with the players and enable the players to have a fantastic learning experience while they're with us, and hopefully bring a different perspective to mine so that we get the most all-round and balanced coaching group that we can possibly have to hopefully bring our team to success. But yeah, really excited about working with her.
How do you think the sixes game has evolved even in such a short space of time? So I think the first year at the Fly seemed quite erratic from a tactics point of view, but do you think that the format has settled a little bit and that maybe people have figured out a sort of standard tactics?
I think there's still sort of quite a bit of variation. I think that the nature of the Fly with a lack of practice time, I think does concertina a little bit of the options available if you're kind of playing for success, because some stuff's a bit complicated to try and do on like X's and O's over a like Zoom call with your players. So I think that does sort of limit a little bit the ambition you can have. But with the structure this year of like 3 weekends rather than like all on one weekend, I think that does give more time for like development and intricacies of tactics. And I think that as people are understanding more the implications of the different laws and the nuances between the field and the sixes, I think we'll start to see more of an evolution as there's just more stimulus out there and kind of higher skill level coming through in the players.
And Ella Cohen, she was the top scorer at last year's competition. She's the only Forge player that's actually been announced as part of your team so far. What do you think she brings to your team?
Yeah, she's not a bad icon to be having, is she? Top scorer, current England international. So she brings goals, which is just so important in sixes. I think she brings an amazing attitude. I think people follow her. I think she's a great leader, and she's got a hunger to put the ball in the back of the net, and I think that's infectious in a team. But isn't afraid to get stuck in on a redefend as well. So very, very excited to have her as our team icon.
And Forge obviously won the competition last year, as we've mentioned, and you sort of alluded to it earlier. But is there a level of pressure attached to that for you?
I think there's a nice big target on the back, isn't it? No one wants to see a team win it twice, apart from Forge. So we'll be out there to do just that, and hopefully take the great work that Connor did with the team over the last 2 seasons, and step on and find another level, so that the guys that are snapping at our heels won't be able to catch us this year.
And you mentioned that Conor Dockery, he's the coach that led Forge Women to the glory last year. He's now the head coach of the men's team. Will that help you, do you think? You'll obviously have your own ideas, but will you be picking his brain a little bit as to how to win this competition?
Oh yeah, I mean, we've already been in contact. I see Forge very much as an entity of the men's side and the women's side together, and I think the more we can bring the group together, the more we can learn off each other, and the stronger we should be as a whole. So he and I are already in good contact, and I think we will continue to be all the way in the run up to the tournament and during the tournament itself.
And just finally, what sort of players will you be looking to add to your team in the draft?
So I like to have a balance in my team, especially of handedness. So definitely want to make sure we've got a lefty picked up in our team, at least, hopefully two. Couple of strong midfielders, looking for a defensive coordinator, and want to have the best goalie in my team I can possibly have. So it's my number one choice, whether that's a retained player or a draft player. My number one pick will be to get the best goalie I possibly can in my team as well.